The Mavericks look to snap their 4-game losing streak on the road as they take on the lowly Wizards. We'll get you ready for tonight's game. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Welcome to the DLLS Mavs pregame show powered by Michelob Ultra. Cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra at 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's a superior smooth taste worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the NBA. Kevin Gray alongside our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr. We are DLLS Mavs as the Mavericks take on the Washington Wizards tonight in our nation's capital, with your Dallas Mavericks looking to snap a 4-game losing streak on the second night of a back-to-back and avoid the season series sweep at the hands of Washington. We'll let you know who's in, who's out, let you know what to look for in our X Factors tonight, plus our Mavericks player spotlight as well on this sensational Saturday evening. Ron Harrod Jr., how we feeling?
Feeling good. I'm moved. I'm feeling good that that's kind of settled, and hopefully the Mavs move the Wizards to the loss column.
We will see if that can happen. Of course, if you're going to be watching tonight's game, tip-off at 6 p.m. tonight. Watching can be seen on KFAA Channel 29 with your Mavericks, of course, at 2-7. 0-2 away from the American Airlines Center. Meanwhile, the Washington Wizards 1-8 on the year, 0-4 so far at home this year. Mavericks are a 4.5-point favorite with the over-under at 234.5. Let's get you ready where these teams are going into tonight's game. We start, of course, with your Dallas Mavericks, dead last in the Western Conference after losing last night, being down by as many as 35 points to the Memphis Grizzlies on the road. They went on to lose, of course, 118-104. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. The Mavs' only 2 wins this season have come against the Eastern Conference, against the Raptors and the Pacers. Dallas on the second night of a back-to-back in D.C., before they head home on Monday to take on Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks to begin a 4-game homestand, which starts on Monday and continues on Wednesday with Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. Meanwhile, the Washington Wizards, 1 win on the season. You know who that came against, of course, the Dallas Mavericks. They are dead last in the Eastern Conference. They have lost 7 straight games since that win at the AAC back on October 24th. They're also coming in on the second night of a back-to-back after getting throttled last night. Apparently 148-115. I don't know if you saw this, but the NBA had to make a statement today in the form of a score correction.
Yeah, I did see that.
So the Wizards, who originally lost 148-114, actually lost 148-115 last night at the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Thank you for that, NBA.
Appreciate the NBA for that clerical
really appreciate it.
Correction there for the score last night's game. After tonight, though, Washington will begin a quick 2-game road trip starting on Monday when they take on the Detroit Pistons. That concludes on Wednesday against Kevin Durant and the not the Phoenix Suns. He don't play for them anymore. The Houston Rockets in Houston. That gets us set up for tonight, Ron. What are you looking for just off top when you look at tonight's matchup between Dallas and Washington?
Well, first, the Dallas Mavericks have to slow down Alex Sarr. I mean, he's on a heater over his last couple of games. I mean, he had 20 against Cleveland last night. He had 31 against Boston, 19 against New York. He had a 30-point game going back against Philadelphia. And he only had 14 in his first matchup against the Dallas Mavericks, but he was 5 of 10, and that was with Anthony Davis on the court. They're going to have to slow down the Frenchman. But at the end of the day, the Wizards are the last team in the NBA in net rating. The Mavs are 25th. So at the end of the day, even if Sarr does get off a little bit, it seems like that doesn't contribute to actual winning basketball games for this team. So if you slow down Alex Sarr a little bit and you kind of make the other CJ McCollums, who's not having really a great season there, and some of those other players, you slow them down, then the Mavs should win this game. I wish I could confidently say that, Kevin Gray, but I mean, if we saw Jason Kidd, I think Brad Townsend reported from Dallas Morning News that they're saying Jaden Hardy is supposed to be a factor in this game. And Ryan Nembhard and those type of guys. And we like those guys. Ryan Nembhard's, we're definitely a fan of him. But to have to rely on him in November, it feels very scary. And for you to get swept by not only just an Eastern Conference team, but the worst record in the Eastern Conference, it just would be horrendous. So slow down Alex Sarr. Please don't let Keyshawn George get another career high. I mean, he can't go for more than what he went for the last game, I would hope, Kevin Gray. So slow him down, and then hopefully the Mavericks can eke out a victory.
They will look to do so tonight as the Mavericks, of course, looking to ensure that they do not go on a 5-game losing streak. When you look at where the Mavericks are right now, these are two teams. Once again, the Mavericks find themselves in the same situation that they were in last night. Two teams going in the absolute wrong direction when you look at where they are in their seasons. The Mavericks, of course, on a 4-game slide coming into tonight's game. Washington on a 7-game losing streak right now after that win against Dallas back on October 24th. And for Dallas, they haven't won yet in the month of November. They haven't beaten a Western Conference team all season long, and they've yet to get a win in the month of November. So, Ron, something has to give tonight in our nation's capital with both of these teams struggling as mightily as they are. The question is, who will do it by any means necessary tonight?
Well, I would love to say that D'Angelo Russell would be a factor in this game, but every time I seem to speak D'Angelo Russell's name, absolute horrendous play follows. So I'm going to be thinking it, but I will not say it, everybody, but I am thinking it. But Cooper Flagg, I think this is a good matchup for Cooper Flagg. Is Keyshawn George and Bilal Coulibaly, are they good defenders? Yes, they are. But clearly, those two can anchor a defense. The Wizards have one of the worst defenses in the NBA. I think this is a matchup where Flagg can see some favorable matchups, especially when it's like a Sarr's off the floor. You get a Marvin Bagley who can score everybody. But is Marvin Bagley known as a defender? We know he's not. He was not even that going back to college. So I think Flagg can have some favorable matchups. And P.J. Washington, I mean, he's been the most consistent player, Kevin Gray. Him and Max Christie, I think they can have good matchups again. The Wizards are not a good team closing out on three-point shots. Max Christie's been one of the best shooters in the Mavs, but even in the NBA, to be honest. So just having him in the corners, if they're just doing those kind of rotations, I think that they can, get a win over the Wizards. Bilal's out. Okay, I see the comments.
Yeah, he is out tonight.
Okay, so even better. Bilal is probably the Wizards' best perimeter defender. He's played, a lot of Eurobasket and stuff of that nature, so he has those skills. But, so I think it should be good. You just kind of need Flagg and PJ to kind of establish their will in the paint. And by doing that, they will be able to kick the ball out to shooters, even though we know Klay Thompson won't be one of those players tonight.
Johnny King with the €5 super chat. Appreciate that. Hey, guys, thanks for trying to keep the vibes up, but the heart has been ripped out of the franchise by Nico. Luka will forever be loved in Dallas. #77. Appreciate the super chat, Johnny. We appreciate the sentiments.
Sure.
And we'll see if Nico's Mavericks can find a way to get a win tonight. Wizards going to be led tonight by Alex Sarr, of course, averaging over 19 points per game, nearly 8 rebounds per contest in 9 games so far this year. Keyshawn George, ladies and gentlemen, is available. He was questionable coming into tonight's game with an illness. He is available, averaging nearly 17 points per game in 8 games this year while collecting 6.8 rebounds per contest. Of course, had that season and career high 34 against the Dallas Mavericks back on October the 24th. Bub Carrington averaging 5 assists per contest in 9 games so far this year coming off the bench. Meanwhile, your Mavericks, of course, led by one P.J. Washington Jr., averaging nearly 16 points per game and over 8 rebounds per contest in 9 games so far this year. D'Angelo Russell averaging 5.6 assists per contest in 9 games so far this year. The Wizards are not very good, and the statistics back that up quite a bit when you look at their statistical profile going into tonight's game. 7th worst in points per game this year, 10th worst in field goal percentage, 3rd worst offensive rating, 2nd worst defensive rating. That all adds up to, as Ron mentioned earlier, dead last in overall net rating in the association so far this year.
Do you know how bad the net, how far of a gap though? I think that was the most jarring thing. If they have a negative 17.4 net rating, do you think it's more or less than 3 points?
Oh, it's more. I saw it. It's more.
The next team is the Brooklyn Nets at 12.8.
Yeah.
So there's a gap. No other team is the Mavs have a minus 7.5 net rating. Well, so it's basically a 10-point gap in net rating. And and usually that would mean that you would beat that team But Kevin Gray, we've already seen that result.
If you want a get right game, you play the Dallas Mavericks or the Dallas Cowboys these days. Let's get to another super chat. We appreciate you dropping those in here on our pregame show.
Appreciate it.
This one coming from Ozzy D with the $4.99 super chat. Can I put the DLLS logo on the next casket at the AAC? I mean, we're here for promotion, so if that's what you want to do, by all means, do what you need to do, Ozzy D. We appreciate you willing to shout us out.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No matter what, we appreciate that. Mavericks, of course, are playing the Wizards for the final time already this season. Only 2 matchups against Washington, and this is the final one already for the season. Of course, they won back in Dallas on October 24th, which was a 117-107 win. Keyshawn George, 34 points in a game. Well, check this out. Now, the Wizards led by as many as 17, but do you remember, Ron, the Mavericks actually led that game by as many as 14. So we're talking about a
swing.
At one point in that game, a 31-point swing with the Wizards obviously going on to win by 10. But, yeah, the Mavericks, I think people forget, actually led that game by as many as 14 at one point before Washington came back and was able to take control of that game.
I mean, Keyshawn George played well in that game, but Bilal didn't even play in that game either for Washington. Again, Alex Sarr, he's 14. He's efficient, but it's not like he went off. CJ McCollum just, again, has not been good for the Wizards this season. You just have to find a way to win the margins against a team like this. The Wizards will kind of stay in a lot of games, and then in the third quarter, usually they kind of just like let go of the rope, I guess would be the analogy that I use. The problem is, it seemed like last time that these teams faced, it was the Mavs that let go of the rope. Hopefully this game that switches around. Again, I think this would be a great game for maybe Cooper, maybe a 25-type point game. I think this is a really good matchup for him, maybe where even he can build some confidence, which I think, to be honest, Flagg has been kind of stacking good games now. But this could be a good, like, big scoring low game where, he won't have to, necessarily just run the show as he was in Washington.
Lone Star Rob saying, even with a win tonight, that doesn't change anything for him. Nico still must go as soon as possible.
A lot of fans do feel like that. I mean,
I think a lot of fans would agree with that.
It's going to take a lot of wins for fans to even slightly, if maybe, change that tune.
We do have the starting 5 for the Washington Wizards. That'll be C.J. McCollum in the starting lineup, along with Keyshawn George, Justice Champagnie, Alex Sarr, and Johnson also going to be in the lineup as well. So the starting lineup for that team with Trey Johnson, who was a sharpshooter, of course, at the University of Texas.
Yeah, UT guy from Dallas, Lake Highlands High School.
Yeah, so that is your starting 5 with C.J. McCollum, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, Justice Champagnie, and Alex Sarr has been having a good season for the Washington Wizards so far this year. Those will be the starting 5 for Washington going into tonight's game.
And that matchup, too, is we talked a lot about drop coverage. Me and Bobby, I know, kind of both discussed that. The Wizards are a 5-out team. All 5 of the players Kevin Gray just named shoot the 3 ball. Maybe not all of them, as efficient as the team would probably like, but they all are considered, shooters or floor spacers. So if you are just kind of conceding threes with Gafford and drop coverage, that might be a way the Wizards can kind of take a lead. And that's kind of how they came back in the last game. Keyshawn George was just stepping in the threes. Bob Carrington was just stepping in the threes. Trey Johnson kind of had a pretty good one of his early games in the season. Hopefully that the Mavs, even when some of Gafford, Gafford's, I think, to my knowledge, is that report, he still be on the minutes restriction in this game?
We're going to be finding out here in just a moment.
So, yeah. And then if Gafford is on the minutes restriction, when he's off the court, I would be shocked if the Mavs went a bunch of small lineups against a team like this. That necessarily length isn't their biggest strength.
Starting lineup is out for the Dallas Mavericks as well. D'Angelo Russell, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, P.J. Washington Jr., and Daniel Gafford will be your starting 5 tonight in our nation's capital. Again, D'Angelo Russell, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, P.J. Washington, and Daniel Gafford, your starting 5 tonight. That bench is going to be tested tonight with no Anthony Davis, no Derek Lively II. Klay Thompson is going to be out as well. We'll get you the rest of the folks who are in and out for tonight's game, but the Mavericks bench going to be tested tonight as they are going to be shorthanded taking on this Washington team. I appreciate all of you joining us here. Nearly 200 of you watching us live here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports while you're here. Make sure you like the video while you're here in our pregame show. Coming up here in just a few moments, we'll get you to our X Factors for tonight's game. Focus in on our Mavericks player spotlight and let you know who's in and who's out for both teams when it comes to the Mavericks taking on your Washington Wizards. But before we get there, I want to help you win some money when it comes to Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss out on any of the excitement this season, especially with the NBA, where it's good to be right with Prize Picks. All you need to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It's also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia as well. It's the best way to cash in this NBA season, which players are going off, which ones aren't, and you can make your picks in less than 60 seconds, and it turns your takes into cash all season long with Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Shout out to our guy Bobby Curl. He's off on this evening, but our national NBA insider Mark Stein will be joining us in our post-game show as he has made his return from California after hanging out with the Amazon crew throughout the course of the week. We'll get to some comments on our post-game show, what Dirk Nowitzki had to say about the state of the Dallas Mavericks, given what has happened to them so far this year. Not great. Not great. It was not great. I'm sure most of you have already seen it, being the Mavericks fans that you are and the MFFLs that you are, and what Dirk had to say about the disastrous start for the Mavericks this year. But we'll touch more on that with our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, during our post-game show. Let's let you know officially who's in and who's out for tonight's game. Again, if you're going to be watching tonight's game, KFAA Channel 29 with tip-off at 6 p.m. Our post-game show will be about 10 to 12 minutes after the final buzzer of tonight's game. We start with the Mavericks, of course, for who's in and who's out. Anthony Davis, who came into tonight's game questionable with that left calf strain as he continues to ramp up to try to get back on the floor. Jason Kidd announcing during his pregame availability that he is out tonight. So that means Anthony Davis misses his 5th straight game tonight for Dallas. We will see if he will be available on Monday when the Milwaukee Bucks come to town with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Daniel Gafford also popped up on the injury report today, questionable with that right ankle sprain. He is available, as you heard. He's going to be in the starting lineup tonight for Dallas. Meanwhile, Derek Lively II is out again. He misses his 7th straight game with that right knee sprain as the Mavericks continue to unfortunately be out their big men, and Derek Lively II now misses his 7th straight game with that right knee sprain. Jason Kidd saying earlier in the week that he hopes that Derek Lively will be back at some point next week. We'll see what happens when they return to Dallas. A little bit of surprise on the injury report today as well. Klay Thompson popped up with an illness. He is out for tonight's game as well. And as you mentioned, the Mavericks going to be looking deep into the bench for some sparks tonight with Klay Thompson being out.
Yeah, Klay has not had a good season for the Dallas Mavericks, but just the name Klay Thompson, when defenders see the name Thompson on the back of the jersey, he could be shooting 1% from 3 for the season. They will still respect his 3-point shot. So even sometimes when he's just in the game, even if he's not making a shot, he has natural gravity kind of from his career. So if he's just not out there like at all, even for like 10 minutes, it's like, okay, someone else has to do that. And Jaden Hardy can make a lot of threes, but I think, myself and you all listening, like a player is not going to guard Jaden Hardy as hard from the 3-point line as Klay Thompson. Now, if he makes 3 in a row, they'll start guarding him a little different. But Klay Thompson just has that natural gravity, so him being out is tough, even if he hasn't played well. And I do see a lot. I'm looking at a lot of the comments. It seems like people aren't too impressed with Klay. And it does seem to me, though, just from looking at some of the reports and just from being in the arena, that Derek Lively and Anthony Davis are getting close. I don't know what day that is, but I'd be pretty shocked if both of them at least didn't play one game on the next. It's a 4-game homestand. I'd be pretty surprised. So I know they're out right now, but it just feels like, just from watching the videos of them warming up and what they're wearing and kind of just the little tidbits that you kind of get from covering the team, it does seem like they'll be here soon. I don't know if it'll be the first game of the homestand or the last, but it feels like both of them will at least play one game on that 4-game homestand.
So Klay Thompson out tonight with that illness. Kyrie Irving, of course, remains out as he recovers from that left ACL surgery. Dante Exum, with his right knee injury management, remains out. Now, Jason Kidd did say that Dante Exum will be reevaluated once the team returns to Dallas this week. So, again, I haven't wasted much time trying to figure out when Dante Exum is coming back. It's been a mystery as to what has been going on with that knee. But at the same time, Jason Kidd did say during his pregame availability that Dante Exum will be reevaluated when they return to Dallas. So we'll see what comes of that once they return later on this coming week.
I would love to know, too. Do we know the exact injury that Dante has? Like,
we do
he
not.
had knee surgery?
We do not know.
We have no, it's almost like we're covering the SEC. I mean, I know people don't understand. Like, when you cover college football, like the SEC, specifically the conference, they don't give you, like, anything on any player. A player can tear their ACL, and you won't know. Like, they don't have to tell you anything on the injury report. Now, because of, new laws and stuff like that has been starting to change as of late. But, it was always a tough battle. So I don't know why they're treating this like this is some college conference. But hopefully we'll see Dante Exum soon because his point of attack defense is probably the best on the team.
And they need some guard play. Obviously, you're going to see the Mavericks go deep into their bench tonight with the guards that are available. Ryan Nembhard gave you some quality minutes last night. Obviously, they're going to be looking to Ryan Nembhard and Jaden Hardy to give you a spark offensively, with Klay Thompson being out to give you some shooting for the Dallas Mavericks. That gets us to our Mavericks player spotlight. Speaking of going deep into the bench, we turn our Mavericks player spotlight attention to Moussa Cisse. How about Moussa Cisse last night in 14 impactful minutes? Had 10 points, 8 rebounds, was a plus 18, and with a block shot as well. And he really brought the energy, the hustle, and the activity. He was one of the few bright spots in what was a very disappointing night for the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks got within 12, 13 points with about 2.5, 3 minutes left in this game. Ryan Nembhard was a big part of that. But Moussa Cisse's energy, activity, and as I said during the postgame show last night, my man was playing like he couldn't go back. And Jason Kidd said it after the game as well, that he played as a hungry player, and Moussa Cisse really gave him a spark. And they may need some of his minutes again tonight. Dwight Powell, you may see at times tonight. Moussa Cisse may get some more opportunities as well, with the Mavericks being as shorthanded as they are in the front court. So Moussa Cisse made the most of his opportunity last night for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was. Again, we talked about last night, like a lot of Mavs fans can't even enjoy the good moments from their young players. But just to speak positively, I thought we saw flashes from him. Like, he's an athletic big that's rolling to the rim hard, that's rebounding hard. Is he a raw player? Yes, he's a raw player. But when you play more and more minutes, you start to, get more comfortable on the floor. You gain more skills. This is possible. They maybe have found like a fourth big when a Lively can't play, or Gafford or Anthony Davis. If you have a fourth young big that you're kind of building up, when a Derek Lively doesn't miss a game, when an AD doesn't miss a game, you're not as nervous. So you kind of need a player kind of like him to kind of emerge, because they're going to face injuries. As we know, some of these players are kind of known to miss some games, as we've already seen early in the season.
And Moussa Cisse made the most of that opportunity last night, really providing them a spark. He will have to do more of the same with the Mavericks dealing with the front court issues that they're dealing with. But more so than anything, just bringing a certain energy, physicality, and mentality to a team that last night lacked a bunch of that lacked energy and was lackluster on both ends of the floor. Moussa Cisse injecting that life into that team will need to do so tonight, because they're going to have to count upon him in his minutes in the front court. That gets us to our X factors going into tonight's game. A few that we're going to highlight here, because if you're the Mavericks, you look at what happened against the Wizards back on October the 24th, and it was an exercise in a lack of execution for this team, a turnover-filled game, and most importantly, just a game that you could not simply give away at the beginning of the year. And now they find themselves climbing uphill to try to avoid a season series sweep at the hands of the Wizards. So X factor number one tonight, Ron, is the Mavericks got to protect the ball. In that game against Washington back on October 24th, committed 21 turnovers in that game and was absolutely careless with the basketball. A team that is as starved for offense as it is, with a little margin of error that they already have with the way that they've been playing offensively, they cannot give away the basketball and give away opportunities to give the Wizards confidence by turning the ball over tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they can't turn the ball over. The problem with a team like the Mavericks turning the ball over is that they're the worst offense in the league if you can't score well and you're losing possessions, it's going to end badly for you. The Mavericks right now are top 7 defense, top 6 defense in the NBA. It does not matter because if you're turning the ball over and you're not making shots, you're having less possessions. And again, while your defense might be playing really good, you have to score baskets. And right now, if you have less possessions, you're not able to get enough chances to score enough baskets to win the game. The Wizards are a young, fast team, but they do lack like size as in like weight. So if you're trying to get into the paint, you're trying to do things like that, and you're not turning the ball over, you have a chance to score.
And if you don't protect the ball, you can't score.
Yeah.
You just handed the ball to the other team for other
points.
Exactly. And giving them opportunities to be able to make things easy for themselves in transition, which gets us to our second X factor going into tonight. The second unit for the Mavericks has got to come to life. We've talked about it quite a bit already, how shorthanded this team is going to be, especially in their front court. The last time these two teams got together, the Mavericks bench was outscored by Washington's 47-28 by Washington. Inexcusable for the way that the Mavericks bench showed up in that game. No Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford potentially again on a minutes restriction because he's still continuing to deal with that right ankle sprain. The bench unit, Ron, has got to produce given the lack of players available for this team. And if they don't, they could find themselves on the business end of another loss if this bench unit is particularly a guy that we've been disappointed in to start off the year because we were pro Najee Marshall show on DLLS Mavs. And unfortunately, Najee has not been very sharp, if you will, so far this season.
Yeah, I'm looking for Ryan Nembhard to kind of maybe provide a spark or Jaden Hardy. I mean, I know Coach said it, so I'm kind of now looking for that. That if I had to assume if he's saying that, that means he's planning to go to them early. And Jason Kidd is not afraid to go to, quote unquote, a player he might not play often in the first quarter of a big game. Like, and I know this might sound crazy, everybody. This is a pretty big game tonight, Kevin Gray. They can't get swept by this team. I think he'll go to Nembhard early. I think he'll go to Jaden Hardy early. We're going to kind of need those players to play their roles and maybe just a little bit higher than even maybe they play on like kind of their average game. Ryan Nembhard can set the table. He can make open threes. I think we saw a little ball handling with that step back he made last game. Jaden Hardy can be a spark plug, a Jordan Clarkson, Lou Will type guy. They're going to need those type of games from those kind of role players to round in the form to be a team like Washington Wizards.
And they'll need that tonight for sure to be able to get a dub. That gets us to our last one, and you saw it in our title card. By any means necessary, by hook or by crook, you got to play with a sense of desperation. We thought that they were going to play with that desperation last night against a team in Memphis dealing with the amount of turmoil that they have been going through throughout the early portion of their own season. And we found out very quickly in last night's game which team has not been able to figure it out as far as getting things turned around, and that was the Dallas Mavericks last night. So by any means necessary, damn it, find a way to get out of our nation's capital with a win. Otherwise, losing tonight and then coming back on Monday when you take on the Milwaukee Bucks and having to face this crowd that is as pissed off and as angry as they are given what the season has been so far, a loss tonight is going to turn the American Airlines Center into something very difficult for these Mavericks players to have to deal with. Because, the boos will be coming and more so directed at the architect of this team. So you got to find – I don't know how much it'll change the vibe of how things feel, but you got to do your part if you're the Mavericks and find a way to get a win tonight because otherwise, yes, Shadow, whatever it takes, you got to find a way to get a win tonight.
They just have to win this game. If I had to guess – if we're predicting, I think the Mavs will win the game.
They're a 4.5-point favorite.
Well, and to be fair, I don't know why they are getting 4.5 points on the road. But look, I'm not the sportsbook guy. I think they're just hoping. I think that the sportsbooks are saying, hey, they lost at home. Maybe they just going towards the mean. They are,
or they're just the Wizards.
Yeah, and they're just the Wizards. Like the Wizards got destroyed last night. Got destroyed 2 nights ago. Got destroyed 5 nights ago. Like the team is getting beat badly by every team not named the Dallas Mavericks. So you would just hope that Dallas would be able to go in here and kind of have their get-right game. The Mavericks kind of haven't had that game where they've just beat the crap out of a team. hopefully this is that game even while they're out a bunch of their players. Because imagine they win this game on the road. It's the Wizards, but at this point, we'll take the win anywhere. You beat the Wizards, say, by 15 points. You come home, you have that game, maybe AD's back, maybe Lively's back, depending on who's healthy, maybe Clay's back. You feel good going to a home game, maybe you get that win. And then you're starting to feel a little bit better. The vibe changes. Maybe, maybe we go Dreams and Nightmares instead of Marvin's Room, Kevin Gray. So, I
don't need no more Drake. How about this? No more Drake songs. No more Drake songs, period, right now. This team doesn't need any more Drake songs at this particular point. Maybe cancel that from the playlist.
Yeah. Maybe
just let it go. You got to let that go.
Something. I guess some Dreams and Nightmares to get you hyped. Some Finito, Chief Keef, maybe get them hyped. Maybe they'll change the vibe if that happens. So it's just stacking wins. At this point, this team is legit you have to take it one game at a time. It's a very cliche, but at this point in the season, they legit have to take every single game as its own thing.
That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Appreciate our guy Prophet making us look good and sound good. Appreciate you, sir. We'll be back here about 10, 12 minutes after the final buzzer tonight when your Mavericks take on the Washington Wizards. Our national NBA insider, Marcin, will be joining us on the program as well, so you don't want to miss that. That is our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. My name is Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you post-game right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.